Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Time Thief deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because Time Thieves are one of the most consistent XZ decks in the entire game and some of that one of the coolest XZ monsters ever created. Time Thief Redoer. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Time Thief Winder. This card is a definite 3-of in the deck and is one of the best cards in the entire build because this card is not only an extender, but it's also a searcher because it has the ability you can detach a material from an XZ monster that you control to special summon this card from your hand, and if this card is normal or special summon, you can add a Time Thief card from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect. We then play 3 copies of Time Thief Regulator. Regulator is one of the most powerful cards in the entire build because this card is basically like a copy of Rescue Rabbit for Time Thieves, that if you control no other monsters, you can tribute this card and then special summon 2 Time Thief monsters with different names from your deck and defense position, except another copy of this card, which is a great effect to instantly get 2 Time Thieves on your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Time Thief Adjuster. Adjuster is a good extender in the deck because it has the ability, if you normally special summon a Time Thief monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, which is a really good effect just to instantly get an additional Time Thief monster on the field. And if it's normal or special summon, you can send a Time Thief card from your deck to the graveyard, which comes in extremely handy in this deck. We then play 2 copies of Bezel Ship. Bezel Ship is a really good 2-of as well, just like your copy of Adjuster. This card lets you tribute this card and then target a Time Thief XZ monster that you control and attach 1 card from your opponent's graveyard to that monster as a material, which is great to be able to work with your copy of Redoer so you can get the exact effect on Redoer that you want to be able to use. It also has the ability, if this card's in your graveyard, then you can actually detach a material from an XZ monster you control to special summon this card, but banish them when it leaves the field, which is a great effect to be able to use this card to instantly get a Time Thief monster back on your side of the field. We then play a single copy of Chrono Coder. Chrono Coder is a good 1-of in the deck, but you only need a single copy of this card. And same thing with your copy of Temporal. Temporal and Chrono Coder are just really good 1-ofs in this deck to be able to use as combo pieces, but you only need 1 each of these cards. We then play a Rocket package in the deck, which is going to be 2 copies of Rocket Caliber. Rocket Caliber is amazing as a 2-of in the deck because this card just extends your play so much because you can special summon this card from your hand to zone a Dark Link monster points to, which is a great effect instantly to get this card on your side of the field because we do play a couple of Link monsters in this build. We then play a single copy of Rocket Tracer. I feel like only 1 copy of Tracer and 2 copies of Caliber is the correct number. This card can't special summon itself, but it's a really good card to be able to play in the deck that can actually search out your copies of your Rocket Caliber because quick effect, you can actually target a face-up card that you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon a Rocket monster from your deck, instantly getting your copy of your Rocket Caliber onto your side of the field, which is a great effect. We then play a single copy of Rocket Recharger. Recharger is an awesome card in this deck, but this card is just a great 1-of to be able to summon off your copy of Quick Launch because this card is not a tuner monster, so it can come in very handy in this build. We then play a single copy of Blackwing Zaphros the Elite. Zaphros the Elite is great in this build because if this card's in the grave, you can return 1 face-up card that you control back to the hand, special summon this card, and if you do, take 400 points of damage, but that's a great ability to instantly get this card out on your side of the field by just bouncing a card back to your hand. We then play a single copy of Strangolannius. Moving into the Raid Raptor cards we're playing in this build, this card is great because if you control a dark monster, you can just special summon this card from your hand, but also you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except dark, which is not that big of a deal because all of our Time Thief monsters are dark, so this card is basically just a free extender. We then play a single copy of Singing Lannius. This card is great as a 1-of as well because if you control a face of XZ monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. We then play a single copy of Raider's Wing. Raider's Wing comes in very handy in this build because this card is really good because it counts as a Phantom Knight and a Raid Raptor card, and if this card is in the hand or grave, you can detach a material from a Dark XZ to special summon this card but banish when it leaves the field, which is a great effect to instantly get this card out on your side of the field, and there's a lot of ways to instantly get this card out onto the field by using cards from our extra deck. We then play a single copy of the Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak. and a single copy of the Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. These are to work with Rusty Bardiche to be able to get the exact Phantom Knight you need in the graveyard, and they're great because you can banish them from the graveyard to either search the Phantom Knight card with your copy of Ancient Cloak, or a Phantom Knight spell or trap with your copy of Silent Boots, which is really cool. Keep in mind though, as you're playing this deck, that you can only search the Phantom Knight cards with your copy of Ancient Cloak. It has to have the in the name. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is just a fantastic hand trap overall. It's stopping your opponent from searching the deck or touching the deck at all, which is just so cool about this card. So that's going to do it for the monsters, guys. Let's get in to the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Rank Up Magic Soul Shave Force. Soul Shave Force works really well because it's easily searchable in this deck and helps us step into a copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity, which is amazing because you pay half your life points, then target a Raid Raptor XZ monster in your graveyard, special summon it, then special summon it from your X deck one XZ monster that is 2 ranks higher than that monster by using it as an XZ material. So you can bring back your copy of your Force Strix to your side of the field and rank it up into a copy of Infinity, which is so cool about this card because you basically just have this in your graveyard and then you bring it back to your side of the field and rank it up by 2 ranks, going into a copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity, essentially getting you a negate off of your copy of Soul Shave Force, which is just such a cool thing about these cards. I absolutely love this card in the deck because it is searchable, which is really nice because you can easily get to it with your copy of Wise Strix, which is just such a cool thing about this card. It makes it really easy to use in this build. We then play a single copy of Time Thief Hack. Hack is a pretty good one-of in the deck because it just gives you an additional Time Thief spell in the build, but during the turn they were special summoned, XZ monsters that you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target them with card effects either, making you have a little bit of protection for your Time Thief cards. You can also target one face-up XZ monster you control and it gains 300 attack for each material currently attached to it until the end of this turn, and if it does, and also has a material that was owned by your opponent, it can attack directly this turn even if this card leaves the field, helping you OTK your opponent a little easier. We then play 2 copies of Time Thief Startup. Startup's really good as a 2-of in this build because this card just helps out a lot overall because it lets you special summon 1 Time Thief monster from your hand, which is great just to extend your plays. And it also has the ability that during your main phase, you can banish this card from the grave, then target a Time Thief XZ monster you control and attach 3 Time Thief cards with different types of monster spell and a trap from your graveyard to that monster as a material, which is a great card to be able to use with different cards in this deck, especially since we do play monster spells and traps now in this particular build that are Time Thief cards, so you can get all 3 of those materials onto your copy of Redoer so that you can use your copy of Redoer's ability to use all 3 of its different effects, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of Quick Launch. Quick Launch is great in the deck because this card is like E-Tele for your rocket monsters, basically instantly getting you a level 4 onto your side of the field, which is great in this build. To just instantly get one of those level 4s on your side of the field so you can make a rank 4 play without even wasting your normal summon. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, guys, we're going to start with a single copy of Flyback. Flyback's great as a one-of in the deck because this card helps out a lot. It lets you target a Time Thief XZ that you control and attach 1 Time Thief card from your hand or deck to it as a material, which is great to instantly get the exact card that you want onto your Time Thief card. It also has the ability that you can banish this card from the grave and then target a Time Thief XZ monster that you control and attach 1 card from your opponent's graveyard to it as a material as well, just basically getting additional materials for your copy of Redoer, which is really good. We then play a single copy of the new Time Thief Power Reserve. This card is a trap monster, which is really good. I really wish this card said that you could activate it the same turn it was set. I know a lot of other Time Thief players also think that about this card, but it's still a really good one-of in the deck because it lets you special summon this card as a normal monster that's a Psychic Dark level 4, 1900 attack, 2500 defense. I mean, this card is still treated as a trap card. Then you can special summon 1 Machine Time Thief monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard, essentially instantly getting you 2 monsters on your side of the field. And if you control an XZ monster that has both a spell and a trap as a material, you banish this card from your graveyard and then banish 1 card from the field, which is a pretty good effect to be able to use with this card. But I really just feel like 1 copy is fine in this build for this card. You can play 2 if you want to, but I feel like 1 is totally fine. You can change it out for 1 copy of, say, Startup if you want to, and play 2 of this, but I feel like 1 is fine. We then play a single copy of Retrograde. Retrograde's also a great 1-of counter trap that when a spell or trap card is activated or you control a Time Thief XZ monster, negate the activation if you do attach that card to Time Thief XZ you control as a material, which is a great effect to be able to use with this card. This card helps out a lot for spell trap negations, and I really like this card as a 1-of in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Fogblade. Fogblade is a great 2-of in this build to be able to work with our Phantom Knight package. Just to be able to use this card like Fiendish Chain to negate monster effects on the field, which is just really good. We then play 3 copies of Shade Brigandine. Shade Brigandine is great as a 3-of because you can activate this card the same turn it was set, and this card is still the best trap monster to play because it just instantly gets you a level 4 on your side of the field, basically for free, because if you don't have a trap in the graveyard, you can instantly activate this card. So it's a great starting card to be able to activate to get you a level 4 on your side of the field to be able to go in for XZ plays. This card is a definite 3-of in the deck, and it's still one of the best cards to be able to use to overlay into your copy of Redoer. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with Time Thief Redoer. This card is an amazing boss monster for the deck and is a really cool card because once per turn, during the standby phase, you can attach you can attach top card of your opponent's deck to this card, which is a really amazing effect because that is a awesome effect to be able to use this card to instantly get one of those cards, instantly attach this card. And depending on the type of materials that are attached to this card depends on the effects that it gets, because quick effects, you can detach up to 3 different types of materials from this card to activate the following effects depending on what you detach. If you detach monsters, banish this card until the end phase. If it's a spell, draw a card. But the best effect is if you detach a trap, because it lets you place 1 face-up card on your opponent's field on top of their deck, which is a great effect to be able to use with this card. We then play a single copy of Time Thief Petrulia. Petrulia is a good 1-of in this build. You only really need a single copy of her because during the standby phase, you can detach a material in this card, target a Time Thief monster in your graveyard, accept a copy of this card, and special summon that monster, helping you bring back your Time Thieves to your side of the field. In quick effect, you can target 1 other XZ monster that you control and attach a Time Thief card from your deck to it as a material, which can come in extremely handy to use with your copy of Redoer to get the exact materials that you want under your copy of Redoer. We then play a single copy of Double Barrel. Double Barrel is just a good 1-of in the deck. This card is a really good effect that when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can detach up to 3 different materials from this card, and it gains the following effects depending on what you detach. If you detach a monster, this card gains 400 attack. If you detach a spell, take control of 1 face-up monster opponent controls until the end of the turn, but it cannot declare an attack nor activate its effects. And if you detach a trap, negate the effects of a 1 effect monster on the field until the end of the turn, which is great that this card is a walking negate. This card is a really good 1-of in the deck, but you really only need a single copy. We then play 2 copies of Force Strix. Force Strix is really good because you just detach a material from this card and then add a dark level 4 winged beast from your deck to your hand, letting you add your copy of Zapdos the Elite or one of your copies of your Raid Raptor cards, which is really good. We then play a single copy of Raider's Knight. Raider's Knight is really good because this card helps you rank up into your copy of Arc Rebellion, which just OTKs your opponent extremely easily because this card gains the attack points of every monster currently on the field, but it's the only monster that can attack when you do that, but that's totally fine because this card is just going to OTK your opponent extremely easily. If you make this card, you're probably winning. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity. Cyber Dragon Infinity is great because you can use Soul Shave Force to make this card using one of your rank 4s. You can just basically use this card with your copy of Force Strix to be able to rank it up, which is really easy to do with Soul Shave. We play a single copy of Divine Arsenal Double A Zeus. Double A Zeus is great in this deck as a 1-of because this card is just amazing in any XZ deck, and this deck plays a lot of XZ cards to help you board wipe the field. We can play a really spicy 1-of in the deck, and that's going to be a single copy of Borreload Savage Dragon. Borreload Savage is really good in this particular build because you do play tuners in the form of your copy of Rocket Caliber and your copy of your Rocket Tracer, giving you 3 tuners to step into this card, and plus we do play some Link monsters in the deck, so this card is great to use as a walking negate. We can play a single copy of Appaloosa. Appaloosa is great in this build because you want multiple monster negates, and this card is very easy to make in the build. 1 copy of Rusty Bardige. Rusty Bardiche is really, really good in this particular build as a one-of, because this card just is a great combo in the deck, because during your main phase, you can send the Phantom Knight monster from your deck to the grave, and then send a Phantom Knight spell or trap directly from your deck into your spell and trap card zone, which is a great effect to be able to use to instantly get your copy of Fogblade on your side of the field, also getting Silent Boots or Ancient Cloak to the graveyard, which is just really, really good. We then play a single copy of Wise Strix. Wise Strix works really well in this deck, because if this card is Link Summon, you can special summon a level 4 Darkwing Beast monster from your deck, which is a great effect to be able to use, but it cannot be used as Link material, which is fine because you're just going to use it for XZ material anyways. And if a Raid Raptor XZ monster effect is activated, you can actually set a rank up magic directly from your deck, getting your copy of Soul Shave Force off this card's ability. We then finally play a single copy of IP Masquerena, because you're going to make this card to step into your copy of Appaloosa, which is really good to instantly step into your copy of Appaloosa during your opponent's turn by using 2 monsters on your field plus your copy of IP, which is just really good to give you 3 monster negates. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. This deck is really fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Time Thief before, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's really fun to be able to basically just control the board with cards like Redoer and just basically end games. This deck is really fun and really consistent to summon out all sorts of really amazing XZ monsters, and it's just a super fun deck. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near the scene, come part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.